Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 35 for February 26th, 2013. Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed last week's special episode. I know we kind of dumped a bunch of special cool things on you at once, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. But enough about the past. Let's stick in the present. My name is Rainbow Plasma, and today I'm joined by...
Burned01.
And what do you do, Burned?
What do you do, Ben?
You just said my name is Rainbow
Oh,
Plasma.
sorry, did I forget to say what I do? All right, cool. Fine. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and editor of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Burned01, and I'm the special guest coordinator of this podcast.
And Flutterguy317, and I'm the art coordinator of the podcast.
And I'm Pinkadesh. I do the questions sometimes.
Sometimes.
When we have them.
Right, when we have them. Well, we do have questions this week, but I think it's going to be a little bit different than you'd think. So, Burned, why don't you introduce our special guest this week?
All right. This is going to be hard because I always stumble over introductions. And,
well, you don't stumble. You just use the word awesome too much.
Yeah, and amazing and things.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Anyway, so this week we have a super awesome and amazing guest for you guys this week. It's and I mean that, super awesome, special, and amazing, and probably one of our most special guests to date. But this week on the podcast, we have someone by the name of Sabrina Albert-Getty, and she's a senior storyboard artist for My Little Pony. And I'm already tripping over myself. It's just like, I can't help it. But we have Sibsy on the podcast this week, which is one of the most amazing things ever. So thank you so much for being on the podcast with us, Sibsy.
Thank you for having me. I'm here. Yay!
Yay!
So it's hard to form words because this is something where you start making a podcast. We started making this 35 weeks ago. And so you start making a podcast and you have kind of goals to set. And when we started learning that, we were like, oh yeah, we could have special guests on. You know, one of the goals that we set was at some point we should try to have Sibsy on. And it's kind of like we've hit it now and it's like, what do we do?
What do we do?
Where do we go from here? We're kind of frozen right here. Deer in the headlights, yeah.
Didn't
It's
think
like
we'd
a dog
reach this
chasing a
kinda
cat.
how
What's he got to
I
do when he
feel.
gets...
Yeah, right.
Actually, yeah, when we were talking to Final Draft about making this podcast, we were like, that was kind of our final goal, was to have you on. So it's kind of...
Aw.
Wow.
Well, we're not ending
Yeah.
after this. We're not ending after
No.
this.
No.
It's a nice
I
little
remember,
bit.
I remember I was at Everfree Northwest, and somehow I got this Everfree radio badge, and I could just go and do everything with it, and I didn't know what I was doing with this badge. But I remember going up to Final Draft, and I was like, do you think it would be okay to ask Sibsy or Raven, like, if they could be on our silly little podcast? Like, oh yeah, sure. He's like, come here. And he's like, what? And he grabs me by the arm and drags me all the way across this big convention hall. And you and Raven are sitting right there next to the cameras. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Sibsy and Raven. And then he goes straight up to us, we're like, oh, hey, this is Burned, and would you guys be interested in being on the show? And you guys were like, is Hasbro okay with that? And like, oh yeah, that'd be fine. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? And I'm just like, and then after
That's
that
my
point,
only thing.
like,
As long as Hasbro says it's okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
no, Final
So
Draft.
yeah, needless to say, we're big fans.
Yay, thank you.
So the very first question that we ask, and we ask everyone this, but I think you'll probably have the most accurate answer. For those
Okay.
of you in the fandom who don't know who Sibsy is, could you explain to them who you are and what you do?
I am a senior storyboard artist for My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Do you want to know how I started it, or
Sure, we'd love to.
Feel free.
how I got here? Well, it happened way back when Lauren came around and had this idea for the show, and I just happened to be working at Studio B. I guess it was called Studio B at the time. Now it's DHX. Came around with the idea of My Little Pony, and I was a little hesitant at first because, you know,
Ponies,
as
right?
much as I loved the show when I was a kid, is it going to look like that? Is it going to be like that? But when I saw her drawings, I was totally on board, and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and did the test within the studio, because you usually have to do tests for storyboard positions to see if you're up to snuff and if you can manage the style of the show, and if, you know, to see where your storytelling skills are. And was up to snuff, so they hired me, and I've just been on ever since.
Cool. So, not to jump right into stuff,
No.
but kind of going off of what you said, do you have to do that test for basically like every single show that you do, just to make sure that you fit in the style, or?
A lot of the times you do. I think once you've established yourself at a certain studio for a while, like I've been at Studio DHX for 4 or 5 years now, I think. They kind of get to know you. They get to know your work habits. They get to know your style. And most of the time they can tell if you'll be suited for a show or not. So sometimes you get lucky and you don't have to bother with tests as the years go on. I found, because I worked at AKA Cartoon for almost 5 years, it's kind of a boot camp for storyboarding and animation, that I think my skills vastly improved in a very short period of time. And I'm very grateful for that.
Nice.
One question for people who don't actually know: what does a storyboarding artist do?
A storyboard artist is basically the visual storyteller. We get the scripts, and once we have the script, we go through it with the directors, Jason, Woody. We go through to make sure everything's working, that in this case the ponies are in character, the story is working. Because sometimes, as great as the writing is, sometimes things aren't clear, or, we need to put in some more visual gags just to make it, sometimes it needs to be a little funnier, punch it up a little bit. And with Pony, we split episodes with 2 people. So we have a partner. Last season I was working with Dave, and we split the script in half. The scripts are about 40 pages for a 22-minute.
Wow.
And we try not to split scripts on Ponies straight down the middle. We like to kind of, I'll take a little bit of the beginning and my partner will take a little bit in the middle, and just so it doesn't feel like such a big jump when you're watching an episode with different styles, because everyone has a different style of storyboarding with different shots and stuff. So it's got a nicer flow when you kind of work together more. So we take the script and we split it up, and we basically just start thumbnailing. We read what is on the paper and try and translate it visually as best we can on paper. And that includes every shot, every act, every action the characters do, every expression, to convey the mood. Hopefully we do it well.
We like to think you do. Yeah.
We try in the time that we've got, in the very short time that we have. I like to thumbnail. We have a 6-week schedule. I like to thumbnail for 3 weeks and do all my thinking in the first 3 weeks. And then the last 3 weeks, I sit back and I just do my cleanup. And cleanup is essentially just taking your thumbnail panels after it's been through the directors, and we go through it like a pitch almost. And we see what's working, we see what's not working, and, things that might need to get changed, acting or shots, and to punch it up. And the last 3 weeks, I just spend cleaning up and just kind of relaxing. I just put my headphones on and sit back and just draw some ponies. just make them look a little prettier than my thumbnails. Although a lot of people say that my thumbnails are way too tight, which I think they are. Sometimes I use my thumbnails as final panels because they're good enough and it saves me time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
I hope that makes sense.
That was probably the best answer we've ever gotten, and I I would like to hold everyone else up to that standard.
I just find explaining storyboarding, like when someone asks me, like in my family or friends who don't really know animation, what do you actually do? Like, do you draw the pictures? And I'm like, kind of. Like, I never know how to explain storyboarding other than it's kind of like a comic book version of what you see on the screen. And I don't think they get it still, but...
Well, it's the middle step. It's the middle step in between the writing, which is just words, and the final animation.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what I'm going to say from now on. And they're still going to look at me like I have 6 heads.
So is all the work you do for your storyboarding, is it all done by hand, or do you do it digitally?
It's digitally by hand, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
we all use Cintiqs at work, so we all draw by hand, but just directly on the screen. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it is technically by hand. I know a lot of board artists like to storyboard in Flash because they can scrub through and and see how it's playing out with timing. I don't really know Flash very well, so I do it the old school way with just little panels on a page and
kind of leave the timing to the animation experts, or
well, yeah, because once they put the storyboard into their rough cut, the directors play with the timing and all that then. So,
right.
But for the most part, we're all on the same page. Like, they get what we're trying to say for the most part. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how closely do you work in with people who actually animate the show?
Well, I believe the animation for the later season of Pony is done overseas, so we don't actually see any of the animators for My Little Pony at DHX. We have the layout department and the storyboard and design, as well as like the music, but that's on a different floor from us. That's where Daniel and Stefan and Will works from LA. Like, the music is all done in-house type of thing, but as for animation, we don't see anything until it comes back.
I think that's quite common nowadays, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The magic of the internet.
They do a fantastic job, though. I was so impressed with Top Draw stuff the last season or so, and
for sure.
Yeah, I've got to say the animation has gotten really fantastic.
It has.
Well, I had a random cool question. You mentioned that you do all of your storyboarding like digitally by hand now on the.
Yep.
What was it? A Cintiq?
Cintiq.
Yeah. When on cartoons you used to do previous to My Little Pony, did you also do it digitally by hand, or did you do it just straight up by hand, like traditionally?
Traditionally, when I worked on the Eds for 5 years, it was all done on paper, and which is great because you have something, tangible to hold. You have like a binder with a whole storyboard in it, a whole episode, and you can flip through it, and you can see all the changes. And we used to cut and paste when things were revised with sticky notes, and we would call them Frankenstein pages because they just look like they've been through
like
hell and
sticky
back.
notes over someone's face just to fix the expression.
Oh yeah, and sizing, we would have there is an important thing with keeping your characters a consistent size in the panel so they don't grow, and because it's easy to lose that. And we would have to photocopy our drawings or shrink them down or blow them up and cut and paste, and it was like crafts, but it took so long. So having to do this digitally is fantastic because with the program you can just shrink and move stuff around, and it just saves so much time. It's a blessing.
It's still awesome to me to think that to know that you used to work on Ed and Eddie's. That show basically warped my childhood. I'm now sitting here as a 20-year-old guy, 20-year-old guy.
I was on that show for so long, but
I
it
love
was
that
great.
show so much.
It was great.
Actually, the reason why I brought up the question was you have a little piece in your gallery where you have a sketch version of yourself and envious of someone doing digital art.
Oh yes,
all the way back from
that is 2007. That was a friend of mine, Dave. We went to college together back in Ontario. We went to Sheridan College for animation, and I was jealous because at the time he's moved on. He's been working with DreamWorks and Disney and whatever, and he's amazing. But at the time he was working on Surf's Up, and I loved that movie. And I was still at my desk drawing Ed and Eddie going, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You get to do the cool stuff." But then I forget that there's so many people who would kill to be doing what I'm doing, so I would shut up. Just leave it at that. Oh, I forgot about that drawing. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we've been doing a little bit of digging.
That's all right.
Not too much.
How is that not in my scraps? That's before I had my Cintiq because it was scanned in. It was a pencil drawing scanned in and then really terribly colored just to throw some color on there.
So how long approximately does it take to draw a panel? Like, I'm sure there's different complexities, but on average.
Of course. Well, sometimes we have panels with every single pony in it, and that takes a while. Sometimes we have a panel with, it's just a close-up, and those are my favorites. It's funny because we have the system at work where we try and figure out how long we should spend on each panel, and the thing is like, people say, don't spend more than 7 or 8 minutes on each panel because we have this many panels to do for the whole show. We have this many weeks to do it. And they try and work out the math. I don't work that way. I split up my thumbnail pages like for a daily quota. Like I have to meet my daily quota. And if I don't, then I'll be behind, which means I'll have to work harder the next day to catch up. Or I like it. It's probably around 7 or 8 minutes, though, I would think, depending on the complexity. There's some that might take longer and, you don't feel like drawing that day, which does happen. Sometimes it's slower.
Well, I mean, what people have to realize is that, you're saying 7 or 8 minutes per panel. And then think about that in a 3-week work span where you're spending 40 hours a week at work.
Oh, we're spending more than 40 hours.
Right. So if you think about it in terms of 40 hours a week, that's ridiculous. And so then you go, oh, wait, no, we're actually spending this many hours a week. And it's just incredible the amount of stuff that goes into it, for sure.
Yeah, the panel count, it's strange because I was comparing, because I just finished working on Pound Puppies and we like to compare panel count. I know this is probably so boring to some people to hear this.
Yeah.
But we compare how many panels on a typical Pound Puppy episode versus My Little Pony or something. And I try and limit my panel count to like under 1,000.
Do you have like competitions within DHX? Like,
no,
my panel count is less than yours.
Sometimes I feel good when my panel count is less because I'm like, I got to do less work and it's in the same time and I finished. It just depends on how much I find how many, because when you storyboard, you could really, as we say, panel things out, which means if there's a long line of dialogue, you can either do 1 or 2 drawings for it, or you can do 5 or 6, depending on how much acting you want during that line of dialogue. But so if someone is really paneling stuff out, I know a few coworkers, I won't mention them by name, but they do know who they are, have a tendency to pretty much key animate everything in storyboards. And I think that is due to working at AKA, because we had to pretty much key animate everything when we worked on the eds and do layout and make sure everything was right, because when the overseas company got our storyboards, they would pretty much just take our storyboard panels and blow them up, like make them bigger, and animate from those. They would pretty much just trace our drawings. So if we did a crappy drawing, it would translate on the TV. And then like 7 or 8 months down the line, when we finally get the animation back, we'd all sit back and watch it and laugh and poke fun at each other because like, your crappy drawings on TV.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. But with Pony, it's kind of nice because it's Flash and they can only be off model so much, like unless you really push an expression or something. Yeah.
How on model do you have to be in like your panel drawings then in that case, like with Pony?
Yeah, well, everyone's got their own style, right? They're more concerned with sizing, like if you draw their heads too big, or it just because it can mess with the final composition. Like if you've got someone framing a shot, it might look really nice in your storyboard, but when it translates, when the layout guys get it and they actually have to put things on model and use the builds to recreate your panel, it might not always translate as nicely. So model, as long as you can tell who's who for the most part, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to back up here for a second because we're gonna start getting into some things to do with your fan art in a little bit, with your character Wildfire and everything like that. But first, I wanted to just go back and talk to you a little bit about how you got started drawing, and as a kid, did you draw a lot, or what did you want to be when you grew up? All those kind of general things. So can you tell us a little bit about more about your drawing past?
Your history in art.
It's probably gonna sound really cliche. Like every other kid that draws. Yeah, I've drawn since I was a kid. I I would draw everything. I would just try and copy stuff from Disney and Warner Brothers, and I would get frustrated when I couldn't draw as good as them when I'm, 10 years old. How come I can't draw like Glen Keane? I'm 10 years old. I should know how to draw this by now. Yeah, I drew pretty much growing up. I always wanted to do cartoons, but I also always wanted to be a pilot. I always wanted to be someone who, archaeology and well, no, that didn't come till later, actually.
Rally car
Although
racing.
I did play with a lot of cars when I was little, but I always felt that I was just only smart enough to do cartoons. I figured I'd stick with what I know best.
Well, you went from drawing like cartoons and little things as a kid from Disney, and now you are probably one of the more popular storyboard artists that I think anyone knows.
Yeah, how does it feel now having people copying your work?
Yeah.
like you did back then?
It's awesome because I remember growing up, and this is going away from ponies, but still with the whole art thing, I would read Disney comics and Darkwing Duck and my Disney adventures, and I go, God, I wish I could draw those. And then like 3 years ago, they're like, hey, do you want to draw Darkwing Duck comics? I'm like, yes. And yet I was so terrified because no pressure or anything. These are like my favorite childhood characters that they're giving to me and saying, here you go. And dream comes true. Like, honestly, I look at my stack of comics and the covers and stuff I did, and I think, holy cow, like, I never would have thought.
I saw you did some Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers comic covers. I'm kind of a big fan.
I know they wanted me to do. That company originally wanted me to do Chip and Dale and or DuckTales, but because I was on Pony, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do two jobs at the same time because animation just takes up way too much time. So I would kind of just take a happy medium, like, I'll do a cover here and there, and kind of get it out of my system. And it's nice to draw something else and something I love, just to get my art and my name out there.
Yeah, no, I think they turned out awesomely.
Thank you.
Speaking of pressure, do you feel like there's more pressure to like make a storyboard with like this big loud fandom behind you watching as you draw ponies?
To be honest, no. I'm still doing what I was doing since season 1. I mean, I think back to when I was working on season 1 before this whole thing got crazy, and we're still doing the exact same thing we've always done. Now there's a couple little, I don't want to say fan things, but the whole derpy thing and whatever, and she's great, and but it that kind of stuff does not affect what we do on the day-to-day.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that because, like, I know the reason that all 3 or 4 of us got into the show is because of, like, well, from the beginning it was kind of consistent throughout, and it's nice to hear that it's staying consistent. Yeah,
I mean, you can't please everyone. Yeah. We're basically, we do it to please ourselves and to do the best job we can do with what we're given, and we just want to make it funny and enjoyable, and I think for the most part it's coming off that way.
Yeah, well, at least for sure. Us 4 think that you've done an awesome job at that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, again, you can't please everybody.
Yeah, well, that's life, Everybody has to see that at some point. I know.
Hey, you know what? It's funny because when I worked on the Darkwing Duck comic, for example, there was a lot of drama revolving around that as well. Like it's in every fandom. People were complaining about the writing in it. People were complaining about this and that, and it's going to happen. And you just got to keep pushing forward and doing what you've always done and just enjoy it. Because if you're bringing a smile to someone's face, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I wrote a journal actually a little while back. Mentioning because I knew there were some people who were complaining, and there was a huge. I think it was just in my own personal circle. There was a bunch of people who didn't. I think they didn't like an episode, and they went on to make these big journals. And I made one in response, not saying that they're wrong, but just saying it's too bad because the reason why a lot of people started watching a show like My Little Pony is because it had that kind of magic that takes hold of you. And it was something that you really enjoyed, and you sat down regardless of how much you thought it was weird or thought that it was unnatural, but like a bunch of people thought of. And I just thought it's too bad that magic is kind of lost on some people. And I hope they find it again, because right now I'm still in that area where I sit down and I watch an episode and I still have that magic feeling, and I still think it's really great, and I have all these positive feelings toward it. So.
Friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic. That makes me happy to hear. Because, I mean, as a kid, I've had this discussion with coworkers and stuff at lunches and stuff. And, when I was a kid and the newest episode of whatever I was watching came up, there was no internet. There was no, spoilers. It was just, the new blah, blah, blah is on today. I'm going to watch it. Some days it's good. Some days it's not so good. I mean, they're not all winners. There's episodes of Pony. I'm like, I don't really care for that episode, but I don't feel the need to have to go on and express my, because maybe that's just not the way I grew up.
Yeah, everything's so connected nowadays.
It's cool, but it's kind of like, okay, it's a little overwhelming as well.
Yeah. There's upsides and downsides to that, because I think a huge upside is that I don't think this fandom would exist without the internet. But you also get a lot of vocal people who now have that arena to be very vocal negatively as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Fandom based off an internet culture is a double-edged sword, but
nothing is perfect.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever experienced it, so it's new for me.
Well, welcome.
Overall, it's been great.
So we were talking about the negatives, but let's move on to the positives. Yes. And I think you'll agree with us that one of the most positive things that have come out of this community is the art, especially the fan art.
Yes.
And I want to bring up something, because in case people did not know, you have an OC named Wildfire. At one point, she was on the show for the season 2 finale, and you've gotten just boatloads of fan art about this little character that you just kind of made on a whim.
I just kind of threw it together because everyone else was doing one, and it was peer pressure, and they're like, "You got to make a pony."
That's the thing
and
to
I'm
do.
seeing all these ones online on DeviantArt and my art sites, and I'm like, "Oh, geez, I'm gonna have to do one now."
You have, I think the sketches. When did you make them? They're in your DeviantArt gallery as of April 17, 2012, with all your little OC poses, your Wildfire poses.
Oh yes, there
There's
they
some
are.
other ones back there too. Back in August 26, 2011. That was the first one.
Yeah, those are super old.
Do you want to just talk a little bit about how that experience has gone for you, the kind of stuff people have made for you, etc.?
Oh my god, it's so awesome!
Hey, then everyone make more.
Yes.
Well, no, I've got so many. I explained on a journal recently that I have like a whole folder just full of fan art that I've gotten over the years. And I love everything. I don't care what, level you're at drawing wise. And if you're taking time out of your day to draw something for me, or that has, a character that you might not even care for, but that to me is what means the most. Like, you are doing this. You don't have to do this, but you're doing it. So I appreciate all of it because it's amazing. Because, I mean, I don't have time to draw everyone's OCs, and I don't even have time to draw my friends. That's why I like to kind of put, my little cameos on my comics and stuff here and there when I actually have a chance to do stuff like that, as a way of saying thank you to my friends and for being, supportive. And I don't know. I love it. And it's not to sound, of course I love it. It's all about me, because it has nothing to do with that. It's because these people are making an effort to do something and spending time. And we all know how long it takes to do drawings.
Yeah, for sure.
And how much work goes into them. And and I think that's why I appreciate even the people who don't typically draw and say, well, I'm not that good at drawing, but I really tried and I wanted to draw your OC, and here it is. And while it might not be, a masterpiece, the fact that they took the time to do it is so special to me. Like, that means the most.
Well, I think what's special is, like, just speaking, maybe not for every brony, but just bronies in general, is that you take a lot of time to interact with us. And I think that's what's so special to us, and that's why we want to make you so much content, because I think you're one of the only people from DHX who is super active on DeviantArt. I mean, you make an effort to like comment on everyone's little thing that they
I
post to
try.
you.
It's because I've always done that. I've always been accessible through DeviantArt, and when people were commenting on my Disney stuff, I would reply just the same. Like, so to me, I'm not doing anything different than I always have done. I enjoy it. I enjoy the feedback, positive, negative. It's just a lot more now because
it's on a larger scale.
So it's on a much larger scale, and I try and respond to as much as I can because I'm a part of the art community. For me, it's like, what's the point of being on there if I'm not going to communicate with people and discuss things with people? And I'm glad I did, because I got to work with a lot of cool people. I worked on a lot of cool projects with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, Sean Galloway, also known as Cheeks. He approached me a few years ago to do some work with him, and I was flattered because he was the reason why I stayed on DeviantArt years ago, because I was kind of on the fence about it. Raven was the one who suggested me going on there. She's like, you should go on there. And it gave me motivation to want to draw again on a regular basis, because when you draw for 40 plus hours a week, you don't want to come home and draw.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me the motivation to say, hey, look, people are following you. People are watching you. They want to see what you have to do. And that gave me the push to break out of the, I just want to come home and sit on my butt and watch TV.
Speaking of great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Speaking of Raven, I have a little transition here. We actually have this little piece lined up by a guy on DeviantArt named Equestria Prevails, and I'll just start linking stuff in Skype here.
Oh, his stuff
it
is
has
amazing.
You working away with Raven.
Yes.
And
I want him to draw all the ponies always.
And no, I wanted to ask about Raven. How long did you work with her?
I worked with Raven, almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
I worked with her on Ed and Eddie, and we both transitioned over to Studio B. She took a year or so off from animation. She moved, and she came back, and she started working at Studio B on Pony, and she was there for the last season, or season 2 and season 3. And now she's moved on. She has just recently moved to LA to work on a Cartoon Network show.
Oh, that's exciting for her.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm hoping I can get down there one day.
Someday.
But for now, ponies, yeah.
But for now, you're going to stay in Canada. And can I just point out that I completely forgot about this until about halfway through this podcast, but we finally have another Canadian on here. Yay! My goodness, I'm personally currently living in Ottawa.
Ottawa. All right. Well, I'm from near Toronto. And
I know you're originally from Ontario, and it's so refreshing.
Well, Hamilton. It's the armpit of Ontario, but we won't go into that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm originally from Toronto myself, so.
Oh, well, then I'm going to say Stony Creek, because nobody knows Stony Creek, but everyone knows Hamilton.
It's true. Anyways, I didn't want to derail there, but you guys need to give me this. You all, whenever I say A, you guys kill me. Now we've got another Canadian.
Yep. Every now and then he lets an A or a boot slip, and we give him.
I never say a boot. Yeah. That's a myth.
You do. I've showed like one episode we've recorded to like one of my friends, and he's like, "Is Ryan Plasma Canadian?" I was like,
"Oh, is it that obvious?"
I'm Canadian and proud. Anyways.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyways.
Well, I'm Canadian Italian and proud, but yes.
Most of the time it doesn't show for him, but yeah.
Anyways, I didn't mean to derail there, but I think that's fantastic.
To rerail, I guess we're still on the subject of Sibsy. We also have another piece. You want to talk about it, Florga?
All right.
Oh, well, I have another piece, but we can talk about this one. Yeah.
Anyway,
there's just so much fan art.
Yeah, right. The piece I just linked is a piece by Willis 96.
Willis 96.
Willis 96.
Yes.
I mean, it's a little piece of the both of you.
It's funny, the tables have turned. Usually Wildfire's grumpy. I don't know why Wildfire is so grumpy. I'm really not that
well, it's like, I think
life.
in some of the sketches, it's like a lot of the poses and faces are just like super unenthused.
It's totally my fault.
Because you're just
she's happy in this one.
I like to complain a lot. Maybe that's why I draw her as grumpy all the time. But in general, I think I'm pretty easygoing. And it's so funny. I have so many people approach me after meeting me at cons. They're like, "Why is Wildfire so pissed off all the time? You're so nice in real life." I'm like, I don't know. It's like my alter persona.
Outlet.
I don't know. It's hilarious. That is a great drawing, though.
I love both your OCs. They're so cute together.
Yeah.
Oh, Raven's big curly hair, yeah.
I love her eyebrows. That's my favorite part about her OC.
She
Because
has
she always
eyebrows.
glorifies them. And when she draws her own OC, they're always like coming off of her face.
Yeah, very cartoony.
Okay. But I got you saying.
So I have this piece,
All right.
which kind of gets us on the subject of ducks.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It's an
Yeah,
absolutely
she's amazing.
adorable piece.
I know, that duck face she's making. Oh, my God.
That's by
It's like her eyes are going to
animators.
pop out
Used
of
to
her
be
head,
Spirito.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the person that we had
Yeah.
on.
Previous guest of our show, actually.
Yeah, she was on, like 30 weeks ago. One of our first shows we had.
She is amazing.
She was.
Isn't she?
She was quite the guest to have on. Let me just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I commissioned her a while back to do a piece about me and a certain sun pony that hasn't been posted because I don't want to rustle feathers, but she did an amazing job, and
Aw,
it was worth every penny.
that's
It's
awesome.
like Disney. She's like Disney.
Absolutely.
She
Yeah.
really is.
Seeing her stuff just makes me want to go watch all my Disney cartoons again.
I remember when we had her on the show, that was one of the things she said is her biggest inspiration is just Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Children of the Night's going to be so professional because it's
Yeah,
amazing.
so
It's what it's
inspiration
done.
for that, you know?
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
She loves the golden ratio too.
And
Yeah.
see, this is the kind of stuff, like, these are the type of artists and that make the fandom, like, just so cool to me, because there's so many awesome artists out there that inspire me, that make me go, oh, shut up and just draw good and just keep doing it, because they're doing it and they're amazing and they inspire me. I find a lot of artists I've worked with in the past, it's kind of funny, whenever they see an artist that, you know, is quote-unquote better than them or more skilled at one thing than another, they get angry about it. And I don't get it. I'm like, why are you angry? Why are you jealous? When I see art like this, or, you know, that inspires me. Like, I take that and go and try and learn from it. I don't want to just pass it. I was like, oh, she's better than me. I'm never going to be that good and whatever. I try and look at it in a positive way. And I wish other people would do that too. And other artists who are still developing their skills, to not get discouraged by people who are quote unquote better than them, but to be inspired, because that's how it should be. Art is there to inspire and I don't know. Maybe it's just me being lame, but
No, I think it's
I'm
a
sure-
natural.
No.
I think it's a natural thing for people to do. But I think after a certain point, like you're saying, you know, you've been doing this for so many years. At a certain point, doesn't everybody, or at least everyone should, hit a point where they switch over to your attitude? So it's a little bit weird
I
seeing
hope so.
seeing people who would be as experienced as you still thinking that way.
oh, we're all our worst critics,
For
right?
sure.
Like,
For sure.
Yeah.
like you work with people, and us animators are so dramatic and so sensitive, and you know, we're all like that. But it's great to be surrounded by great artists in a studio, because it makes you keep your game up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine like you being surrounded by all of the other storyboard artists and stuff like that makes you stay on top of your game and kind of pushes you a little bit.
Yeah, like one of my partners, you know, is really good at action sequences. I'm not super good at action sequences, but working with him, you know, I can see what he's done and learn from him. So the next time I have to do an action sequence, I'll just think back, okay, what did he do? And approach it maybe the way they did and just learn from it. So it's nice to have that collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a note to anyone who's watching, like, you know, try and get involved in a collab, because you can always learn from someone else.
Yeah,
Or-
and if you're planning on working in animation, get used to it, because it's not just yours.
Yeah.
Everybody has a part in it, and never, you know, we call them like don't fall in love with any of your babies, because you're going to kill some babies along the way. It's the way it goes.
Most morbid phrase.
It is, but it's kind of one of the standard terms in the industry. Killing babies.
Oh man.
Especially in the storyboarding and thumbnailing process, don't do a really nice thumbnail or a really nice drawing because it might get canned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't put too much effort into it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to think about it from the point of view where, how much of this is actually going in compared to what's being changed or,
Yes, for sure.
About how many storyboard panels are like redone or canned per episode, or does it like vary?
Oh, it varies. I find on ponies it's not too bad because the writing is pretty solid. So if we follow, for the most part, what's there, usually stuff that gets canned is just, well, this is a little bit too long, let's shorten it. Or let's change the acting here. Maybe Spike shouldn't be sad, he should be happy or sarcastic. Or it's usually just things like that. Most of the pony crew, because we're all fairly experienced, we don't, it's not to toot our own horns, but we don't have crazy revisions because we're all familiar with the show. We know the style of the show. We're used to it, and that makes the director's jobs a lot easier. They don't have to worry about us as much. Yeah.
Actually, question, warping back to Animators' piece. Have you seen her animatic for Children of the Night?
Of course I have.
Who hasn't burned? Come on now.
I was just curious. Well, you were mentioning that you see such awesome artists like this and it's an inspiration. I was just thinking that, Animators must be grinning from ear to ear just to think that she could be an inspiration to someone who I know that you're an inspiration to her.
Oh, yeah, we chat a lot. She's great.
Isn't she?
She said that she was inspired by me. I'm like, are you crazy?
No, I'm inspired by you. No, I'm inspired by you.
No, I love you.
That's
more.
when you got a great friendship going on for sure as an artist.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not real fan art, but it really reminds me of this piece.
Let me see here.
That's by a friend of yours.
Oh.
Oh, this is done by Raven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's adorable.
That's one of the things that's crazy about the fan art is because you've gotten so many, and I'm going to tie it to us because we're narcissistic like that, of course. We've got the same attitude as you. You mentioned earlier when you were talking about OCs, you were like, oh, of course, because it's all about me. That's the same way that we feel. But you've got so many pieces; it's hard to put them all in on the screen at once, especially within a 1 hour span. We actually back like 4 months ago now. Probably even more. We got some pieces in of fan art for our show, and it was pretty surprising to us. And so we said, we want to feature these. We want to give them their due, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, these are cool," and then putting them in a,
Yeah.
So because we have this kind of avenue for the show, we wanted to be like, yeah, I want to show these people. And so we said, hey, well, we've got a couple pieces. If anybody else wants to send in some, then we'll put it on the show, and I think that'd be great. And we ended up getting 50. And
nice.
And it's something about the fandom that's just, it's not just like you were saying, it's not just the quantity, but also the quality of it. And it just kind of takes your breath away when you really think. And I think that's when it really hit us that we're doing something that people really like, because you get a ton of cool comments and you're like, oh, that's cool. And you can check the view count of a video and you go, oh, that's improving. And then you kind of get this really personal touch to it. And it kind of, it kind of blows you away there.
It does. And every time I get something, people private message me and like, oh, and I drew something for you. And it kills me because so many of them don't want to show me. And I'm like, why would you take the time to do it and not show me? Of course I'm going to love it. Like, why wouldn't I not like it? Yeah. They're just worried that I wouldn't like it. And I'm like, you're crazy. Show me it all. Like, it's
amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it's still, I can't imagine how you must feel, but I just get like a few
overwhelming.
pieces from some random awesome guy in Finland, and I'm just like, wow, why do I deserve these? These are so awesome.
Because you're awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely great. So for people who are wondering, maybe a little bit want to see more Wildfire fan art, we can't put a favorites folder within a favorites folder. So just go check out Sibsy on DeviantArt. That's sibsy.deviantart.com, and she's got a favorites folder for, I believe it's called gift art.
Yeah, fan art, gift art,
and that's the one where you can go and check those out. There's
And it's not even just Wildfire. Like, I've got people drawing a bunch of my OC characters, and I love seeing their takes on it, and they come up with stories for them. I'm like, you put more thought into this than I have. This is great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you got like 24 pages of that. So
It's
so
ridiculous.
if you guys,
I got a
crazy.
lot of them on my birthday last year. In all fairness, I was, holy cow! That day I woke up and DeviantArt's like, you have over 1,500 messages. I was like, what?
I remember.
Oh my
I even
goodness.
joined in on it because someone made an awesome fan art piece. Like, oh wow, this is amazing, and like it's Sibsy's birthday, go wish her happy birthday. Like, all right, I'll join the entire brony
my
fandom.
God.
Go to your DeviantArt page, say happy birthday.
yeah, everyone.
I couldn't keep. I remember that day I was at work and I had to keep checking on it like every 10 minutes because if I didn't, it built up so quickly. And because I want to get back to everyone, I try and do it in smaller spurts because I want to thank everyone individually because it's amazing. And holy cow, that was insane.
The day your inbox exploded.
I'd like to
It
think
did.
that I'd like to think that we almost broke DeviantArt that day.
Yeah.
With all the amount of commenting.
Oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
But I think one of the cool things is, you get a bunch of stuff like this and you go around and you thank everyone individually. It's something that another one of our guests, was it White Diamonds?
White
Yes,
Diamonds.
I keep mixing up White Diamonds and White Dove, but we had White Diamonds on the show, and she's just a great person, and she does the exact same thing. But you also go around to random pieces that you'll see and keep track of, and comment on those. Like for example, I remember, oh gosh, it was like a year ago when I made a vector of, I believe it was from the finale when it was Soren and Rainbow Dash, and I made a vector of that, and you commented on it, and it was just like, what? Like someone from the show taking out the time and the effort to do that, and
Well, because I'm an artist and I still enjoy seeing other people's art, no matter what kind it is. And I actually like getting comments. I like DeviantArt because if someone does a picture I like or they do me fan art or something, I will go to their gallery and I will go through their whole gallery. And
Oh,
I like to see where they're coming from. I like to see how their styles develop over time. And that's the nice thing about DA is that you can kind of go from person to person to person and you see their favorites, and then you can go, you find new artists that way. And I've commissioned a whole bunch of artists on DeviantArt to draw stuff for me because why not? They're amazing. And I would love to have a piece of their art and plushies and toys and stuff I can't do.
yeah, it's definitely so cool just how DeviantArt is such a great place. DeviantArt gets a lot of it gets a lot of flack for I don't know. I don't even know anymore
Don't they all, though?
because my
little
perspective on it,
stickler things.
my perspective on it
Yeah.
now is so focused on Pony that I don't see any negative side that people bring up or whatever. But in terms of
I've
even
never
layout,
really heard about
uh,
I've never even really heard about too much negative stuff. Maybe because I've been on it for so long and I just kind of stay in my little corner of it, and it's like my page is the happy page.
yeah,
Whatever's going on over there is fine. They can do whatever they want.
yeah.
Your recently uploaded cartoon version of you is very fitting.
Whoa, can't link that in the in the
Oh
thing.
no.
In the favorites folder.
Yeah. It's the real me.
Oh man.
Oh, well, speaking of awesome artists and awesome styles, I just want to keep throwing pieces of fan art at you. But I'm a huge fan of this artist style.
Oh,
I wish we could get him on the
me
show.
Too.
I just love
Me
your OC
too.
there.
Oh, I love the fuzzy ponies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Any artist that does any amount of fuzz, like we had an artist
Yeah.
called Ino Hoshi on 2 weeks ago, I believe, and
Yeah.
she just does the fuzziest, like almost she hates it when we say this, but like almost like dog-like ponies, and they're adorable. Any fuzz, and you've got me hooked immediately.
It's like instantly.
Yeah, instantly, for sure.
Instant
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. The Trill's really
Oh, yeah.
awesome at using a little fuzziness.
Yeah, this guy's stuff is amazing too.
He's a
I
great
didn't commission him
artist.
for that one, but I was going to, and then one day he just surprised me with that, and I was like, holy! And I was showing it to everyone at work. I'm
Look
like,
at it.
this guy. And they're like, we don't care, Sabrina. It's your stupid pony. I'm like, but it's so good.
It's cute. That's how we all feel.
They're just jealous.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'll be at work sometimes. I work at a hobby shop, and I'll just be like, "Look, someone made more fan art of my pony." And they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I work here.
I'm a
Shut
You
up,
don't
I'm
even
a
work
pony."
your burned leaf.
Burned your drunk ghost.
Just walk into Starbucks, like, "Look."
But I mean, it's not that they don't like it because it's not. I mean, they'll say that's a beautiful drawing, but the subject matter, I'm sure, is.
They don't
Well,
appreciate
there's also a
it.
personal level too, you know.
It
Nothing can
for
really
sure.
compare to, you know, it can be a perfectly formed piece of art, but you know, one that's pretty good
Yeah,
and it's
you're right.
yours. It's like, well, it's mine, you know. There's something
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
This
it's
stick
special.
pony someone drew me.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, like you were saying before with the whole like no matter what quality it is, you know, it's the time and the effort that someone takes out to do that.
Yeah, because they didn't have to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
I never asked them to.
Yeah, and I know, like you were saying before, that you get some people coming up to you and not wanting to show you the art because they don't think that it's good enough or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think we have a good venue with this show, not to, you know, brag about the show or anything like that. But I know we've kind of inspired some people who have been drawing but have been a little shy to kind of come out and put their
That's
art
awesome.
out there.
That's what we
That's
want to do.
awesome.
We want people to go and try out the arts, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It can be harsh sometimes, but if you love it, you won't care.
That's kind of exactly what we're trying
Yeah.
to bridge the gap here because we're a show about four regular guys who technically aren't really super artistic. You know, none of us have a huge background in art, but we want to show people that anyone can do it, and you know, you put in the time and you put in the effort, and you can do it. Like you can be the
You
artist
can
you
learn
want to
it,
be.
yeah.
I'm a super artsy pony with my background of art appreciation level 1.
Yeah.
That's all right.
One art course, and all of a sudden
I'm
it goes to
halfway
his head.
through I'm halfway through an art appreciation class, and I'm a professional artista. That's Spanish, by the way.
Thank you, Bern.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other pieces that they want to bring up really quickly before?
I want to bring up this piece because
ducks.
More
no,
ducks.
not
Less
more
Corollas?
ducks. It's an animation,
Oh,
and it's by
yes.
That's gonna be loud
Snap
if you open
AI.
it.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
close that now.
Yeah.
We all know what that is. We don't have to open it.
It's by Snap
It's one of
AI,
my favorite thing ever.
Yep.
who is a fan of our show and obviously MLP. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the
Love
funniest
Snap Eye.
thing ever.
He's a great guy.
I
If
remember.
only I could animate.
Oh yeah, speaking of your birthday, that was a birthday gift, right?
It was a birthday gift, yeah.
Yep.
I remember meeting him. I think it was at the last Everfree, and we were in the elevator together. And I didn't know it was him, but he had his laptop with him at the time, and he had a sticker with that image on it. And I pointed at it or something, and I had that really dumb, "Oh wait, it's you. Never mind." I felt like such an idiot. I'm like, "Oh, you like Wildfire, eh?" I'm like, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the guy who did it." Stupid. Oh god. Felt like such a fool.
It's hard to remember like names and no faces within the fandom, especially all the bronies.
Especially no faces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah,
And because there's so many of us.
I remember.
Yeah, they all know my face, but I don't know their face.
yeah, for sure.
Fair.
Especially because you know everything it's kind of based around the internet, so yeah, anonymity and things like that.
Must be
Not me.
awesome. People
I'm
would come
out
up to you
there.
in conventions like, "You don't know me, but I love you."
Well, if they say it like that, Bern,
I've
it
had
might
nothing
not be
but
so
good
great.
experiences.
Maybe I shouldn't do that next time.
No, it's fine. Everyone I've met has been very pleasant. And again, are always surprised that I'm not as cranky as they think I'm going to be.
I got you to sign a little pin of mine. It was a pin of your OC. That's a
Yeah.
little filly. And
Yeah.
I have it here, but I want to put it on something, but I don't want the Sharpie to wear off. It's like, I have this. It's like, I want to
Oh.
Relaminate the button.
I could always send you another one.
Yeah. I should get it laminated or something. Tried acrylic spray. It didn't go well.
It's worth nothing. Just throw it away.
Sentimental value. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe some real value.
Out of all your birthday gifts. Out of all your birthday gifts, though, that low flyer one is the one that stuck with me. I think it was
That's
because
hilarious.
of the song. And the
And-
bobbing. Bobbing was great.
We're hitting the 55-minute mark here, so we got to wrap up soon. But I just wanted
More
to.
fan art.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the opportunity
No.
to people. First of all, to you, Sibsy, if you wanted to bring up anything or talk about anything, but if not, then if anybody else wants to bring up any fan art that we could talk about for a couple minutes here.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I want to talk about all of them.
Well, do you have any like little favorites or one that just really stuck with you that was really funny or just really heartfelt?
To be honest, the ones that make me laugh the most, I need to get to my favorites here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just give me a moment here. Are the comics by that Flash guy. He tends to do comics of
Like that one?
the crew. Let me see. The crew. Yeah, these ones are fantastic.
There was one he did that's my favorite with Kat Whitney eating ice cream. I think that was my favorite. We'll get that in a second.
I swear to God, I talk to him on Skype sometimes. I'm like, dude, are you stalking me from the like? It's like he knows us, but he's never met us. And his comics are so spot on, and it freaks me out, but in a good way. And every time I see them, I'm like, how do you know? How do you know these things?
There's that comic.
His stuff just makes me laugh. Oh God, it's so spot on. It's terrifying.
I love that comic so much because we have a joke that because Random Plasma here loves cookie dough ice cream
because it's delicious. You're never gonna get off my back for that, are you?
No.
I say it one time.
That's all it takes.
Yep. Yeah, you're never living that down. Sorry.
Okay. Well, kind of warping back into one of the comics made by that Flash guy who he's one of my favorite comic artists, even his non-pony stuff. He's real awesome.
Oh, his non-pony stuff is hilarious. Yeah.
But so I gotta ask because we haven't asked before. Why do you love ducks so much?
I don't know. I just do.
They're just awesome.
I've liked them since I was a little kid, like on the farm in Italy growing up. I used to have pet ducks, and actually one of them was eaten at one point.
See, not to derail again, but that's so unbelievably sad. Because
I know.
No, we actually have a pet duck here. His name's Lucky because we bought 4 ducks. And he was the only one who survived, so we called him Lucky.
This is like the worst college story of all time. Why would you buy ducks?
Because we live out on a farm area, and we have a lake. We have a little lake here. It's like a little pond.
I would so
it's perfect size for ducks. Anyway, Lucky is a mallard, and
nice.
He's been with us for a really long time, and my dad feeds him out of his hand. So my dad goes up and feeds Lucky like out of his hand now, and
I am so jealous. You don't even know.
As of last week,
I'm smiling, but I am so jealous.
No, Lucky is awesome, but as of last week, he got eaten.
What? Why is this so depressing? How are we supposed to end a podcast on eating ducks?
I'll never forget, but my dad came down in my room and like he is super serious, like about Lucky, and I was like, oh
no.
Did he get eaten by an animal?
Like coyotes.
Coyote, we're stopping this now. No, okay.
But we have more fan art about
okay,
ducks.
Let's pick one more.
Talking about it just helps heal.
We gotta pick one more, like super happy one now.
I got one right here because it's about Sibsy's favorite car.
Which one is
it's
this?
It's the one about...
this one I got a Corolla.
Because that's you have a Corolla, right? That's your favorite car is Corollas?
Yeah, it's totally my favorite car. I love how many people ask me about the Corolla. People who just like, I guess, get into the fandom and like, what's with you and Corollas? I'm like, they're the bane of my existence. They only come out when I am on the road. I am convinced. They are all silver. They're all like 2001 models. And they just, it's like they know I'm on the road and they just find a way to get in front of me and drive 30 under the speed limit and make me want to just, I'm not even going to say because this
the curse of the Corolla.
PG program. Yeah, it's only in BC though. Only in British Columbia.
Maybe BC's got some sort of Corolla
it's like
deal
the land
going on.
of the Corolla. I don't know why. I don't know where people would be without the Corolla in this province.
Is the Corolla like the car of the province? Like is it the national?
Me, it seems like it is.
I think it's on the
The
flag.
Corolla
I'm not sure.
and the Mazda 3. However, the Corolla is not a bad car. It's just the people behind the wheel.
The people who buy.
It's like nothing against Corollas. It's the people who own Corollas.
Yeah,
nothing
they're
against you.
beige.
You're wrong and I hate you.
They're just, they're beige cars. So it is what it is. But I mean, they are my enemy in in the wild. And yeah, everyone who knows me knows if something bad ever happens, like I had a coworker who just got hit by a car the other day, and I'm like, I bet you it was a Corolla. And he's like, you know what? I think it was. I'm like, I guarantee it was.
That's awesome.
Like,
Oh man.
it's a terrible generalization. But in my experience, nothing but terrible Corollas.
Forget them. I know that there was I can't for the life of me remember who made this, but there was that one animation that somebody did where you were it was something to do with I know it was you, and I believe it was Man of Pony in something, and
our friend Rob, Rob and friends did that.
I can't for the life of me remember like the link for that, but I just remember very vividly that kind of amazing animation that was done to do with that. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so good. He actually recorded his track. I think I was visiting him at the time. I think it was at Christmas time he did it. And Mando did the voice for that. and it's funny because we tease him because he's like, you called me Sibsy, but it's technically Wildfire.
They're the same thing.
I'm like, it's kind of the same thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Technicality.
Just you in pony form.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, all this art and animation, like, it's crazy to me. It just makes me smile.
Especially now with DA's new thing. What was it? God. The more like this. You know, you can literally go to something with your OC and spend about 8 hours just clicking more like this.
Just down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's a deep one.
Well,
it's never ending
because I can't stop linking fan art. Yeah, here's another awesome one.
I'm gonna allow you one more, and then we have to end this up.
It's a nice one to try to end on, because it's not Wildfire per se, but it's still you. And then it's on a happier note. That's a Subaru. That's not a...
Nice.
Yeah. I like that JJ drew me short and stumpy, like how I am in real life, and not like super tall with skinny legs. I'm like, no, I got hips and I got a butt. That's fine. I like it. It's more real.
Handsome guy in the background, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, well, that was an interesting note to go on. Much better than Dead Ducks.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry, it was a relevant story. She even said it. She was like ducks and they got eaten, and I'm just like, no.
Anyway, so Sailor Moon, JJ, all of that junk. You know, I don't think we've said this a lot on the podcast, but we never really want to end these interviews because we meet such great people and we have such a good time. But I don't think it's ever been as accurate as it is right now. It's unfortunate we have to end, but unfortunately we are getting down to the end of the podcast. So I would just like to personally thank you for coming on, and just personally thank you for all the work that you do, not only on the show, but you know, being so involved with the community. I know you get some flack sometimes from some people, but I would personally like to say that don't worry about those people, because there are a lot of people out there, much more people, who appreciate what you do.
There are, and it's amazing, and I appreciate it.
Well,
thank you.
We actually have had something planned for this whole little episode, and I'm going to bring it up, but we have a little surprise for you.
Oh, did you finish it?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, we did. I think Yash was throwing it together as we were recording, but we built a little surprise for you. So there it is.
Oh.
And this is from us to you.
Oh my goodness! That's adorable.
We really appreciate you coming on the show with us and recording. It really means so much to us.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it that you guys even want to talk to me, because I just do what I do.
No, like the fandom loves you. They really do. The DeviantArt bronies.
Yeah.
The good ones.
The amount of pictures I'm gonna have to link in this episode. My tabs, I can't.
Look at all the hugs.
I can't read the tabs. All right. Well,
that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's going on DeviantArt, right? So I can favorite it and add it to my list.
Oh yeah.
Eventually,
we're gonna put that up on the CAC account, or we'll figure that out later. We'll send you a link to that just in case.
It's already in my folder on my desktop.
Nice.
I'm gonna put up a version with the background as well.
Awesome. Okay.
Sweet.
Send me that then.
All right. Well,
that's adorable.
Did you want to plug real quick,
Thank you,
Rainbow?
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have somewhere that you wanted to plug? Like, I know people can find you on DeviantArt, but is there
a Tumblr or anything?
No, I don't have a Tumblr because I am an idiot and I can't figure it out. And everyone's like, you should go on Tumblr. I'm like, I don't know how.
I'm going to be honest with you, as someone who's got a little bit of design with web development and design, it's not the greatest, the most well-designed website.
I have a blog spot. It's Sibsy .blogspot.com, I believe. You can just search Fueled by Rage if you can't find it. But the thing is, I pretty much post everything the same there as I do on DeviantArt, so it's kind of one and the same. And I'm on Twitter at @TheRealSibsy, but I think everyone knows that. So
Yeah, I think everyone's subscribed to you, basically.
Yeah, just in case, I'll put that up on the screen for you.
Who's the fake Sibsy?
Well, it's funny because it's only because when I went to make my Twitter name, Sibsy was already taken, so it was the only way I could keep my name.
I hate that.
It sounds like super egotistical and like smarmy, but I'm like, no, it's just because.
Well, you have to think of something on the spot. I had to do that with my email, which nobody say here. I know you all know my email. Don't say it because I don't want to get emails. But the email rainbowplasma@gmail.com is not mine. I had to come up with something on the spot, and I hate it because you make a name so that you will have it everywhere. It's something that's unique, and then you get somewhere and it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it's panic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was pretty. And I didn't even want to go on Twitter. Jim was the one who was like, "You got to get on Twitter." I'm like, I have nothing of value to say ever. And yet now I can't get off of it. It's a terrible addiction.
It is. For sure.
And I know. Like Tara Strong's been trying to get all the VAs on there too, which is
Tabitha's on there now too.
yeah.
Well, that was funny.
Tara's a bit the grips of addiction, but I think she's fine.
Oh well. We all got our
She's
thing.
having fun.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it off here because we are reaching over an hour now, and we want to make sure that we don't go too crazy. But thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for your work on the season.
Thanks again.
And all of that junk that I just
much.
mentioned before.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. So, Piggy Dash, you want to hit up our plugs then?
I guess I can do that. Okay, so as you all know from every week, we have a DeviantArt account, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. You can check out all of the stuff that we've featured on today's episode from Sibsy, also stuff that we can't feature that we just don't have time for. Just a whole lot of stuff. Just check the episode, the favorites folder. There's all sorts of different folders in there. Just go there, have fun, go nuts. We have an email account, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. If you have any questions for us to send in for any potential future guests or if it's just general episodes, just please let me know because I don't like making them up because they're horrible when I make them up. Yeah, even just like the stupid questions, like what was the one? What was your favorite ice cream? Or if you could be a tree, what would you be?
I knew you'd keep bringing up the ice cream thing.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. It was on the top of my head. Whatever. Yeah, so that's about it for us. Social media, go.
Yep, we have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Cutie Art Crusaders. You can go there, you can like us. We'll post the day of like an episode, and we'll also try and post like 15 minutes beforehand just to give you a nice reminder. And we have a Twitter account, which is @CutieArtCrusade, and there you can find the most up-to-the-minute information on how things are going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And then, of course, you can always comment on the YouTube page. Like and favorite helps us out.
Oh, yes. And one more thing, because we have our OC episode coming up soon, which means that you guys still have a little bit of a chance. I believe, yes. So the 26th to the 1st. So you have a couple days now. Remember, the deadline for that is March 1st. So send us in some cool pictures of your OCs, and we may or may not use them for our cool OC episodes. So you guys can send that into our email account, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. Like Pinky Dash mentioned, make sure you put OC in the title.
There is a journal which basically outlines how you should submit and stuff.
You're
like
right.
that.
That'll
So
be
take a look
in
at
the
that.
first link in the
YouTube
description.
Check out DeviantArt page for that.
That'll be in the YouTube video description.
Yeah, very first.
Yep.
All right, well, that's everything for this week. I'd like to thank Sibsy for coming on again. It was a fantastic time. And I've got to say, I was feeling a little bit down coming into this, and my mood is so much better. So, thank you for cheering up my day. Thank you guys for watching, whether or not you're on the live stream or YouTube. We love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
I'm Burndoe1.
I'm Flutterguy317.
I'm Pinky Dash.
And I guess I'm Sibsy.
Sweet.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
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 Hello and welcome to the 11th Cutie Art Crusaders spoiler cast. Today we will be spoiler casting the season finale of season 3, episode 13, Magical Mystery Cure. I am Flutterguy.
Does it really count if a spoiler cast if everyone's seen it?
Well, I guess technically everyone's seen all of our other spoiler casts too. It was just
Super
Okay,
late,
so it's an
spoiler cast.
episode.
Yeah, but
episode
yeah, no, I
cast.
it was
guess.
literally just a
Episode
name
review?
that we couldn't come up with anything better, which is how we name all of our things.
Yeah, before we go any
That's
farther.
true. Yeah, before we kind of delve into the episode, I'm Flutterguy317, and today I'm joined by...
Burned01, the guy with the manly
Pinky
voice.
Dash.
And I'm Rainbow Plasma.
Pinky Dash.
All right, and on that note, so yeah, season finale of season 3. I thought this was a really good episode. I don't know, what did you guys think? Like initial reactions and whatnot.
I go first?
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
First. I liked it. Like watching through it, I really enjoyed it. It made me smile a lot, and I got a lot of feels from it, which was nice.
Oh God,
'cause I
not the
haven't done that
stupid
for a while.
feels thing again. Emotions.
I like the feels.
So many
It's-
I got feels from it. No, it's emotions burned. You have emotions. You're human. You
emotions,
have
feels.
emotions. You're not a 15-year-old
It's
girl.
against my masculine nature to say emotions.
Yeah, but Plasma, he's male, so he has feels, not
Oh my
emotions.
God.
It's true. He has liquid pride.
Yeah, right?
There we go.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really well done. I have to agree with you, Burned. When I first saw it, I thought it was a little bit rushed, especially like towards the end there.
Yeah.
But I've seen it like 5 more times since then, and each time it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, it was like a 1-episode musical to me, so it was kind of nice because like the season finales have always been really awesome because they've been like kind of short Disney films where they've actually had a plot and they've been stretched up between 2 episodes, and there's like a few songs like sprinkled in there that were really good. But in this one, like the whole episode was just like one big musical, and like the plot was laid out in the musical, and the plot was resolved in a musical, and it made it really cool. Made it unique, like something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Which I definitely liked.
Kudos to Daniel Ingram and M.A. Larson for writing the songs. That was
Yeah.
fantastic
Yeah, for sure.
job.
I mean, Daniel Ingram was talking on Twitter about the fact that, it wasn't his decision to make a musical finale episode. And I think by now, the DHX has kind of said, they're kind of handcuffed, I guess, in terms of what they have to do. I don't think it takes, a rocket scientist to see that Alicorn Twilight was a creative decision made by another company, not quite DHX.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The
I
evil
think,
overlord.
I think in general, like considering that these people were basically told, make a 22-minute Alicorn Twilight musical. I think that based on what they had, they did the best that they possibly
I don't
could.
even know if they said the musical. I don't know, like, what's...
Yeah, no,
Daniel Ingram came out on Twitter
Daniel
and said
Ingram's,
that.
Oh, okay.
yeah, he tweeted something like I'll name the company, Hasbro.
Yeah.
Basically came to them and said, hey, we need an episode with an Alicorn Twilight. Hey, we need 7 songs in an episode. Hey, let's make it a musical. Like, yeah, that was
I don't think
basically
they
it.
said 7
Bravo,
songs
right?
specifically, but I think they were
I
just
don't-
like,
I
we
know
want
they
to
did
do a
that, yeah.
musical. That sounds cool. And he was just like, okay.
No, they were quite... Yeah, no, Daniel Ingram said they were quite specific.
Really?
Yeah, as to 7
Really?
songs. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And how long was the episode? 26 minutes?
22
24
minutes.
22 minutes.
Standard half an hour
22
show
22
with
minutes,
commercials.
like a normal episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why it was so jam-packed of awesome singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I have heard through Daniel Ingram's Twitter that there's extended versions of a lot of the songs, which is awesome.
I
haven't
have
even
heard that
those
too,
yet.
yes.
I need
I
that.
wish
wanna
that he
hear
would
them.
come out with them already
Yeah.
because I'd love to hear them.
Oh, so they haven't come out with them? Those are gonna be
They
like a
have not
special-
come out with them. Yeah.
Ooh,
He's
watch out
just
for that.
announced that there are extended versions of some of the songs, yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of tired
is
of
amazing.
hearing
Awesome.
people be like, the general consensus is that it should have been a 2-parter. And I'm just kind of tired of hearing that because I feel like, we've heard enough out of people to be like, they were told to do this. They didn't say like, nah, we should just make it 22 minutes. Pfft. Like they probably were sitting there just going the same thing. Like, damn, I wish we had more time with this.
Like, how are we going to put this into 22 minutes? And they
Yeah.
did their best. And I thought they did an awesome job. And it was cool because it wasn't something that's been jammed all into one episode before, which made it kind of cool because it changed the entire flavor of those 22 minutes you sit down and watch the show,
Yeah. Well, I've seen some people like review the episode, and I guess the inclusion of songs really helps with the whole timing and pacing of the episode, because it was basically, instead of having action and talking and dialogue and stuff like that, you have a song which kind of moves things at the correct pace and kind of makes it seem like it's longer than it actually is, which I had no idea, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
That's what songs are really good about. It's a good way to get a lot of information out without, or even like scene changes, very quick scene changes, which is exactly what you saw in this episode with the 2 main 6 songs, quote unquote. It was Twilight going around to 5 different people and learning all of their stories and then fixing all of their stories. Doing that individually would be very difficult to do. And so it's almost as if it was like a blessing to get this musical, because as much work as it was, I think if we only had like 1 song, it would seem way more rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think of that, but when Twilight goes around and sees that everyone's cutie marks are switched and stuff, it's all done through the song.
Yeah, it's very quick, but it's appropriate because it's a song.
Which is also my favorite song.
Yeah. I'm kind of partial to I've Got to Find a Way, the Twilight solo song.
I've been flipping between the
It
2
all seemed
different
like-
like,
The Cutie Mark was my favorite one.
It all seemed like one big song to me, but if I had to pick a favorite, it would be the very end credit song when like Twilight flies across the screen. It's like it's all going to be fine.
Life in Equestria.
That I had such a big grin on my face.
Continuation of the first song in the episode.
I
Yeah.
had such a big grin on my face
It's,
after that.
There was Morning
what's
Morning
the
in
word?
Ponyville.
There's a word for it, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, there is a word for it, but there was Morning in Ponyville, and then there was the very similar, almost like it was a different verse, Life in Equestria.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
reprise,
Yes,
is it?
That's
Yep,
what the word is. Reprise. Technically,
yes.
they're different songs, but
Well, different titles, but
it's almost the same lyrics and it's the same tune.
again, I'll take a reprise because I kind of wanted to hear more of Morning in Ponyville as well. I wanted to hear more of all of them, but that one got cut short, obviously. So
yeah, by Rarity. Thanks,
we heard
Rarity.
each one of the main 6 sing, right?
in this episode, we've heard them all sing
I'm
before.
just like I'm trying to recall. I just mean
Yes.
like in this episode, each one of them had a part. And
Once again, proving
Yeah.
that those who do not sing very often have fantastic singing voices and should sing more often.
I wonder if it was them singing.
There was no Spike song.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. Spike
That's
didn't have a
fine.
song.
Oh,
Good.
who do you hate Spike so much? Spike's worst part.
He had 2
Oh,
episodes.
Spike.
Maybe if one of those episodes got cut, we could have had a 2-part. Oh, sorry. Anyways,
Oh my god.
but yeah, we saw each one of the main 6 sing in both of those songs. And I don't know. It's just, again, this is like complete bias, but hearing Ashley Ball, is it Ashley Ball, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I got the pronunciation right. Ashley Ball sing both Rainbow Dash's and Applejack's parts is just, she's a natural singer. That's what she does. And so to have her not only do the voice talent, but then be able to kind of use her vocal talents like that. And it just shows, like, I want to hear more of those 2 characters singing because I didn't, Rainbow Dash's songs before have been like very intentionally kind of not off pitch, but kind of not great singing. I don't know what it was about this episode, but during the True Friend song, Rainbow Dash's part was just like jaw-dropping voice.
Yeah, like the last time I had Rainbow Dash and Applejack had like an impressive voice was like in my opinion it was the Best Night Ever song. Is that what it's called? Best Night Ever? The gala episode. Like that. Those 2 parts were awesome. My Applejack's part always gets stuck in my head.
That was like 2 years ago.
Still.
Yeah, man.
No, I still remember Winter Wrap Up.
Actually-
Come on.
It's kind of funny that you brought up.
Sunshine and Celery Stalks. Sorry, go ahead.
Such a good song.
Forgot about
that. This episode kind of was reminiscent, at least to me, of the finale of season 1 a little bit, just because it included everyone. There was singing and everyone had an issue, and they all had to try and resolve them at the end.
Yeah, no, that's
So-
kind of awesome. I think it's different in that in the first one it was that each one of them went into the episode expecting it to be, the best night ever, and it was kind of each one of their own character's transition of how like that didn't come into be, it kind of wrapped up. But in this one, it was more like instead of them, how do I word this? Instead of them entering in like a scenario, it was they were put into a scenario where they were in peril, and it was Twilight was the one who had to like resolve it, and then they went through resolving the issues. So it was just like a different flavor in issues, but no, yeah, it was definitely reminiscent in that like as the finale wrapping up, there was this one kind of unifying thing that they all had wrong, but I felt this one was way more centered like around Twilight rather than the whole main six cast.
Yeah. But it's been like since then, since we've seen something like, well, maybe even the Discord episodes.
Yeah.
That we've seen all of the main six have issues that they try and resolve all together.
Most of like just pony episodes are like the characters like going on adventures, or different adventures or interactions within Ponyville. And it's like, but like epic adventures or epic things going on where they have like these problems they have to solve is very like season beginners and finales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to pose a question here, and I've already got my answer formed in my head, but I want to hear what you guys think. I've heard a lot of people say that the actions within this episode were really arbitrary when it came to finally turning Twilight into an alicorn, and that the conditions set were just silly and didn't make any sense. So do you think that what was done in this episode was fair enough for her to now become an alicorn?
Transcend.
Right. Do you think that's fair, or do you think it was...
But you see, but it was just her final test. It wasn't it was a culmination of 3 years of the characters. It wasn't just, okay, you've done good this episode, so we're going to make you a princess. It's been, you've done all of this stuff over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you've ever managed to make some brand new magic by finishing off Starts with the Beard.
I think on that point, though, it, in my opinion, as far as storytelling goes, it would have been nice if there was a little bit more emphasis on things like that happened in past episodes. Like the characters remembering themselves was like a big part of that, and that was kind of cool. But in like, what is it, in the very beginning of season 1, the beginning 2 episodes, each character kind of goes and finds like their special talent, or they have each part to get to the end of the Elements of Harmony. There was kind of like that, how it all came together and clicked. There was no them uniting and clicking, and this one it was like, oh, I remember who I am, and then bam, they're fixed.
But they only remembered who they are because of Twilight. So if she hadn't have been with them for those 3 years, she wouldn't have had that that relationship that she's built up with each of the individual characters. She wouldn't know how to make them remember themselves. Yeah. Well, so that's why I don't see this as it's it's arbitrary. It's not enough. It's 3 years worth of training.
Yeah. The only point I was trying to make is it would have been nicer to bring in the concept of the past 3 years we've been to into the episode, or into the theme that like united them all. Like maybe physically remembering things that happened other than them flashing over their eyes.
Yeah,
but
with
the time constraint, maybe that just wasn't wasn't possible with the time constraint.
Yeah. If they had have done this in a 2-parter wrap-up, I think they would have done that.
Because I remember watching through it and watching through everything, and I definitely agree with you. I like the concept, and I thought it was good, but I felt that as I was watching it, the stuff that's happened in the past 3 years was more or less irrelevant. It was her finally creating the spell. There was less of an impact of the 3 years I've been watching. It was more just about this one episode and her creating the new magic, if that makes sense.
But wait, the reason, and the finale didn't really do a great job of wrapping up, because they were talking about season 3 being this overarching storyline, and it was meh in terms of that. But they did bring back the book, and they did bring back a little bit to do with the tests. And so I think the reason why Celestia sent the book is because of the last 3 years. Because Celestia could have sent that at any point. She would have cast the spell, and oh look, everybody's, now messed up, and we don't know how to fix them. Twilight of the past would have tried casting spells to fix it. Anyways, a point that I wanted to make was I thought there was very subtle friendship hints that I wanted to bring up, because I haven't heard this being talked about anywhere else. But when they're singing the True True Friend song, they have one pony helping the next pony, right? And then so on and so on and so on, right? So you start with Fluttershy, who, quote unquote, helps Rainbow Dash, right? And then Rainbow Dash, quote unquote, helps Rarity, Rarity to Applejack, Applejack to Pinkie Pie. Those 4 relationships are 4 relationships that would be considered either strained or non-existent at the beginning of the show. Because when you think about it, you've got Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash were not friends really at the beginning of the show. You had Rainbow Dash thinking that she was useless. Fluttershy was like, oh, Rainbow Dash doesn't like me. Rainbow Dash and Rarity, there was no connection there. Rarity and Applejack was super strained. And Applejack and Pinkie Pie, there was no relationship there. And so I think that those 4 things in order were put in very intentionally to show that they, over the last 3 years, have, built this friendship between them.
Well, I think that also kind of leads back to Twilight, because if Twilight had never come to Ponyville in the first place, like, you never know, that might not have actually been the case where they became really close friends.
They might have just kept we've got the basic friendships, like Rarity and Fluttershy were always friends, there was never a huge amount of conflict between them. Applejack and Rainbow Dash maybe, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a huge amount of things there. So maybe those would have just stayed. But I think the fact that they did those 4 specific characters in order, I think that was more significant than people think. And I think people have overlooked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mentioned, or go ahead, Flutter Guy. I have a point, but go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to kind of go back to your point earlier, Bernd. With how they were constrained on time and couldn't show, I'm guessing that if they had more time after each of the characters remembered who they were and their past and stuff like that they probably would have done something more. But yeah,
the point I was trying to make is I really liked the first 2 episodes because it was they went on this journey, and then each part eventually built up to the final resolution, to where in this part there was just this issue, and then they resolved it by remembering, and then it didn't kind of build up to a finale. It kind of built up to the alicorn thing, but that happened more suddenly than it's maybe that's time that I got the feeling of less of it. I don't know. Maybe it was even a poor point, but the major thing that I was thinking about is I watched the episode and I just enjoyed it, but there was nothing as I was watching it tying it back to the previous 3 years, other than when they were walking down the hallway of scenes with Alicorn, Twilight, and Celestia, when they had the things and she pointed it out and said it, and then I was okay, sure, because that was the point I was just gonna make, was in the first 2 episodes, the reason that's again why I enjoyed it so much is how it built up to that, and then all the way to the end of the first season, it was the gala, and it, every little thing in the episodes and what was happening built up to the gala. And this one, they had very subtle hints, and maybe I just don't get subtle hints or I don't enjoy them, but I thought feel it would have been nicer to kind of wrap in those points and make them more important, sending the book and this importance, and having this book is going to be a huge importance to you. I don't remember, did they say that in any of the episodes, where this book is going to be amazingly important?
I think a lot of that was really subtly burned, and I think you're absolutely right that the way that they handle it in the first 2 episodes of the series was very out there and very not telling the audience, but showing the audience in a visual way. And I think you're absolutely right that it would have been better if there was more of that showing in a visual way, as opposed to, just oh, by the way, look, you 3 years, right? But I think it's just, that comes down to time constraints again. And I think it's incorrect to say that there's none of that, because I think there are a lot of subtle things. But I'm with you that I wish that it was a little less subtle.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make, is I thought it would have been nicer if it was less subtle, because we've seen so much and all the characters have been through so much, and I don't know.
I guess you just have to watch the episodes.
It's again nitpicks, really.
Yeah. Overall, I really love this episode, especially over multiple watching. It got better and better for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Actually, I kind of wanted to bring up one more point, and it's kind of a conspiracy, but it kind of makes sense. I saw it, I think, on Reddit first, that some people were kind of connecting Star Swirl the Bearded with Discord.
Oh yeah. How they're saying that Discord used to be Star Swirl the Bearded, and then something went wrong or something like that.
And it may seem like, really crazy, and it probably is just a bunch of, hooey or however you want to call it. But
yeah, it's nice from the... Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it, Star Swirl didn't have any friends, so he couldn't finish his spell. And Discord didn't have any friends until Fluttershy, so...
yeah. See, like, that would... Again, I'm still like, oh, this would have been awesome, this would have been awesome, which is kind of lame, but... it's like, it would have been awesome if, like, in the first few episodes, it's like, this... Did she ever... I can't remember, maybe I'm just, like, forgetting, but did Celestia ever come to Twilight and be like, this is, like, Star Sword's the Bearded's, like, famous book, and he had a spell that he couldn't finish, like, in, like, the first few episodes.
No, it was...
Yeah. So that would have been awesome. Just like, this is Star Sword's Bearded's famous book, and like, this is his famous spell, and like, he couldn't cast it. Like, that was in the very beginning of this episode. That would have been something that would have been awesome to put in the beginning of the season and leave as a hanger, like the Gala thing was with the build-up. And that like gives so much more meaning to a season finale,
There kind of was that cliffhanger, because at the end of the first episode of the season, you see her put the book in the bag that she, just doesn't explain anything about it at all. So you're like, well, what's going on with this book? And then she brings it out at the start of this episode.
It's so subtle, though.
Yeah, I think Burn is just saying he wants to see it less subtle.
It's a kid show. I don't watch it looking like nitpicking in those thoughts and trying to think super deep and critically. I mean, I want it kind of laid out for me.
That's where you're going wrong.
There's so many people that do look into these episodes deeply, like more deeply than
so
we do.
So we've kind of
I watch it for simple enjoyment,
Yeah. We've kind of transitioned here.
And this week on Overanalyzing a Kids Show.
Yes, we're all overanalyzing. Yeah. So we kind of transferred over into general season 3 talk. So what did you guys think of the season? Just, first thing out of the gate, did you like it, did you not?
I'll go first.
I enjoyed it.
All right, good. I thought it was good. Yeah. It was short, obviously, because there was only 13 episodes, but I thought they did a fantastic job. I think the animation quality has definitely improved.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the story writing quality has also gone up. I mean, there's episodes like the Discord episodes that are always going to be like, in the top episodes. Mm-hmm. But there were some really good episodes this season, like the Sleepless in Ponyville episode. I know Rainbow Plasma, that's like one of your favorites. So
I kind of miss the simplicity of season 1, where it was like there's a simple lesson in friendship, and
you're
like,
such a hipster, it's ridiculous.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, and even getting more hipsterish, I really love some of the episodes that like the community hates, like some of the community's like least favorites. I really like some of those episodes. So I was like, I just can't win.
Such a hipster.
I'm like hipster glasses on. Hold on. Where's my scarf? It's around here somewhere. I got a couple.
Well, while you're doing that, I really like the season. I think considering it was 13 episodes, right now, I don't really know. I don't really look at seasons as like my favorite season or whatever. But this season, I was kind of looking into it, and considering it's kind of really up there for me, and it's only 13 episodes long, says a lot about the quality that they had. Because I think if this season was 26 seasons long, it would have been my favorite season. If you know what I'm trying to say. So I think considering that, they did a fantastic job with what they had. And I guess that was kind of the theme this season, do the best that you can with what you have. And I think they did a great job.
I really agree.
So
because they had so many cool things that they wanted to do, It's like, we want to bring Trixie back, we want to bring Discord back, and we want to make Alicorn Twilight. And maybe that was Hasbro's thing, and maybe it was DHX's thing, or whatever. But it's like, to cram all those awesome things into one episode, like, I think they did well, and I don't think they could have done much better, regardless of how much we want to nitpick. But, I mean, like... Yeah. I mean, it only brings my hopes up for the next season,
Mm-hmm.
There was one...
And the movie.
Sorry, go ahead, Pinky Dash.
Oh, yeah, and the movie.
Oh, yeah,
and the movie. There's a movie.
Alicorn Twilight would have made such a great movie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that would have worked a little bit. But then you have to tie it back into the show, so when does that air,
I think maybe like Hasbro has like a marketing agenda or like calendar of when they want to make toys, but I think it would have been much more profitable. Like maybe, I just don't know how to distribute toys, but much more profitable to have like a movie and make that like, oh my goodness, amazingness Alicorn thing that would make even kids want it so more,
Well, when they first came up with the idea, I'm sure they didn't even have the movie idea. like thought of at all.
Because this is back
so it
last
was
year
like,
when they're making it, right?
Yeah.
No,
it was
you
like,
gotta give them
we're
some
gonna
kind
have
of credit.
Yeah.
I'm sure they planned on like this is popular, popular enough to like profit off of. We're probably gonna want to make a movie out of it, and they're like, well, we want to make this Alicorn.
But you have to realize also,
you're gonna have to.
You have to realize also that if they did that in the movie and that was a permanent change to a character, the thing about movies is that there's never. Well, if you look at like TV show movies, like what the Pokemon movies or whatever, there's never really they start and they end in kind of the same place because they have to fit into the show.
Not really.
Generally.
I disagree with that. Not always.
Okay. But in this case, I was just using an example, but in this case, they could not have started a movie and then gone Alicorn Twilight and then started a new season because you would have a bunch of people who hadn't seen the movie be like, oh, okay, I guess she has wings now. I mean, yes, you can say
that's fair.
You can say,
But,
go watch the movie, but you can't do that in a TV series because the movie is separate.
You can.
What were you saying, Big Dash?
Rugrats did it.
What'd they do?
They had this. They had this. Like it was like just Rugrats for years, and then they had this movie where Dill Pickles was born, and then from then on, Dill Pickles was in the Rugrats episode. He was in every episode.
I think there's a difference between introducing a character and changing an existing character that we've seen for 3 years, though. Fair enough?
Yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from, and that is a great example.
Yeah, I think it's possible. It's possible, but especially for something like this, yeah, I think you're right in that it might be a bit far-fetched, especially when like the majority, regardless of how much we want to give importance to ourselves, the majority of people who watch this are children.
And think about how much this actually changes in terms of the Alicorn. You know, she's a princess now. She's an Alicorn. She's got all these new responsibilities. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for season 4 because they've got all these new ideas, regardless of how much it's just like, oh, Alicorn, you know, that's what a cop-out. They've got all these new ideas to explore next season.
There's a video. Go ahead.
There's a lot of like, like you're saying, there's a lot of new ideas, new possibilities, and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you know, princess duties and stuff like that wouldn't have been possible if this transformation didn't happen. So
I'm interested to see how they bring in the whole friendship is magic into her said new duties. You know. Because I mean, like that was a big thing in like season 1, hipster classes. But and, I mean, she has all these new importances now and like things that are going to be difficult in her life, and it will be interesting to see if they use that mechanic to have her friends help her, and if they keep that importance.
Yeah, I almost guarantee you there's
or vice versa.
I almost guarantee you there's going to be an episode in which Twilight attempts to do something by herself because she's a princess and she should be able to, only to realize that she can still have her friends help her even though she's a princess. That's almost guaranteed.
What's her little toy?
That'll be the
very
episode
first.
that's probably going to be the first.
What's her?
2
What
episodes.
was her toy? I forget her toy.
Smarty pants.
Yeah, Smarty Pants.
Yeah,
Be like that.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways,
yeah, she's gonna go insane. Insane Twilight's the best one.
yeah, definitely.
But we were saying thoughts on the season. I think one of my main thoughts is, well, it started in that I came into this episode like, coming into it, like starting to watch it. It was like there was everything that the community was saying, and like I didn't like the fact that I had been spoiled that she was gonna turn into a Alicorn. That was the worst part. But so I came into it with kind of like hard feelings. But as I started to watch it, like I forced myself to like, I really enjoy the show and I enjoy watching this, so I'm not going to let it bug me, and I'm just going to watch the show to enjoy it. And like when I went into that kind of mode and just watched it and enjoyed the songs and like tried to understand the whole thing where they were 3 years like build up to this, like I think maybe that led up to the fact how like the whole 3 years building up had less impact on the episode, even though that was the point of it.
Right.
And that's why I felt they could have stressed it. But regardless, over like the whole season, I liked all the episodes and I thought they were good episodes. And my only contingency that like I thought was done poor was that the lack of like spacing out and how they crammed it, because like it was such a short season. And then, but it was nice as like a concept in the season finale to like see Twilight grow up, and like that's the concept we are seeing is like Twilight, maturing and growing up and having all these things and building up to this final eventuality or whatever. But again, I have all these hipster stuff. I think it's just sad that someone like Lauren couldn't have taken us there, and it's Hasbro leading the reins on what they want to happen in season per season.
Whoa! Before you say that, Lauren Faust left the show. She wasn't fired.
I know. No, I didn't. I wasn't saying that.
Okay, but you
I
implied
mean,
that Hasbro took up the reins and said, "Get out of here. We're gonna do it."
No.
No,
He didn't really, but
Yeah.
someone's got to leave.
Regardless, no, it's good you guys keep my wording on track because sometimes I don't know what the heck
the
I'm
show
talking
is
about.
the show, and you can say as much as you want about possibilities, but the fact of the matter is we have what we have right now. And I think I'm not attempting to say that you're doing this, Burn, so please don't take this, but I think that when I hear some people say, "Oh, Lauren Faust this about the newer stuff, I wish that she was here," it's almost like a little bit insulting to the people who are currently doing it, because I think they're doing a fantastic job. And I'm not saying you're doing that, because I know that you also think so.
I agree they're doing a fantastic job. It's just that I became a fan through the first season, and that's what I liked the most. So it's just I have this preference of like first season flavor, but it's evolving and it's changing. And I've also said before, I like the fact that it's changing, because if it was always the same, it wouldn't be how it is now, and like it would be boring. And there's not a lot of things that constantly evolve or change. And this show is an example of that. It's constantly evolving, changing. People who are making it are getting more skilled. They're making different style episodes.
It's doing it gracefully.
I think that's a good thing more than it's a bad thing.
That's the thing is like, as a community, well, a lot of us joined because the characters aren't really one-dimensional. Like they grow up. There's character development throughout the seasons. Like even if from episode to episode, it's not completely consistent. Like you can see progress throughout each of the 3 seasons so far.
Yeah.
So eventually things are going to change, and when people start like being like, whoa, I don't want it to change. It's like, that's kind of like why some of us got into the whole thing in the first place.
I don't like the concept of like, I hate change. Like I kind of say like, I wish they did this change in a different fashion, but change is good. And I think if you thought of it, so.
Yeah. I'm going to bring on my hipster glasses.
Oh, no, come on now.
Just one point. The one thing that I miss from season 1 and partially season 2 is the letters to Celestia, because they completely stopped in season 3.
Didn't they do it now and then, like once or twice?
Yeah,
they did it like
half-heartedly.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah, but it was like
I really like that as a theme because it was very Again, it was non-subtle. It was very laid out and blatant.
Some people really did like it,
and to make it very simple for younger viewers. And I'm watching this for simple feels, and I enjoyed that concept.
Yeah,
feels, so many feels.
I'll allow the word feels for that one instance because it was kind of correct. Okay, so
I'm gonna chuck on my YOLO glasses and go stand over here with these guys.
So just to wrap this up, I think the general consensus from not only us but a lot of people in the community is that the season and the finale was awesome, but it felt like it was a bit rushed, and I think that comes entirely down to the time constraints. And so season 4 is looking quite good because season 4 is confirmed for 26 episodes.
It's looking promising, and they're
starting with a 2-parter, which is technically parts 2 and 3 of the finale that everyone thought was rushed. And so it seems like immediately they're planning on expanding.
So it's not a one-part episode. It's a 3-part episode.
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a bit of a little bit of a cop out, admittedly, but
I know
it's the only thing they could do, really.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many people watch Adventure Time, but I know they did something like this where they had a finale.
But it was done so well.
Yeah, they had a finale episode that was like a cliffhanger, and then the first 2 episodes of the next season were kind of finishing it up.
I
so
can't
it's kind of the same
make
thing.
stickler picky points at Adventure Time because everything is done so amazingly. Like I have no complaints about that cartoon and how it goes about its business.
Anyways, I think we all liked the season. We thought it was a bit short, and I think that's it.
Yep. So on that note, well, this is our finale for the spoiler casts, but we'll still be doing weekly Cutie Art Crusaders. So
well, I don't think people come for the spoiler casts.
No.
Yeah.
And if you do, you should really watch our episodes because they're awesome.
Watch our show, please.
Please. So we'll probably see you guys. Well, we'll obviously see you guys next week, and we'll probably see you for spoiler casting next season.
Yeah, season 4, whenever that comes out. Watch them string us along until December this time.
2015.
Oh,
man. All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks.
I'm PhotoGuy317.
I'm Burned01.
I'm Pinky Dash.
And I'm Rainbow Plasma.
And we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.